everyone, this is Corporation Law HA3021. Our group number is 3 and the topic is ASIC versus Sino, Australia Oil and Gas Limited. And my group members are Madhushanka, Sahan, Susara and Rashmita and myself Supipi. This video will present a case introduction, identify duties and responsibilities were breached and its underlying reasons. Also the court decision and evaluate the impact of the decision of the court and how it may influence the usual business operations for companies in Australia. So Sino Australia was the holding company in Australia of a Chinese venture which involved in providing drilling service with the oil and gas industry. The former chairman of Sino is known as Mr. Shaw, was also an exclusive director of the organization. Sino issued shares at the Australian Securities Exchange on 11 December 2013 and managed to raise approximately 12,800,029,318 at their initial public offering. Ultimately, Mr. Shaw has asked the resident Australian directors of the board to consist with him to release about 7.5 million for a bank in China without exposing a proper cause. But the Australian resident directors refused to agree with the request and they were removed as company directors. And this incident was reported to ASIC due to the concerning behavior of Mr. Shaw. Ultimately, the company had to wind up doing their business as the federal court appointed a liquidator in 2016. The facts of the case were in favor of ASIC as David J. declared that Sino was a contravention of sections 7281, section 7281, section 7281 and section 1041H and section 672 of the Corporation Act 2001. As ASIC was able to confirm that Sino was in contravention of the Corporation Act, which includes providing false information in the prospectus of the company given out at the IPO, where it claims to have false patents claims. This case is cited as a great example which explains the importance should be put when making an appointment. According to the section 4036 for administrator or a director, as directors of a company are responsible to act appropriately in all the business dealing to protect the best intent of the shareholders of a company, as they are the people who can be held responsible relating to matters in business dealings. And now I will pass to Madhushanka to talk about the duties and responsibilities that breached.
Thank you, Supi. Hi guys, my name is Madhushanka with student number ENE3065. I'm going to take over the presentation about our presentation related to Sino, ASIC versus Sino. Basically, what I'm going to talk about would be the duties, responsibilities breached and why they were breached. So first of all, we have to just understand who is a director. So the director would be a person who is responsible for the companies all over the business activities, and he must be just doing all these with due care and diligence. So the Corporations Act 2001 delegates several legal responsibilities well as the ethical responsibilities to a director. So out of those, we have just taken the main points, the basic 4 points to explain the explain related to our case. So the first point would be the carry out all the duties with care and diligence, which is explained in section 180 in Corporations Act 2001. So that would be the main highlighted point of our case as well. So the due care and diligence would be that a reasonable person who might be expected in the conducting their duties in the role. And the second point would be the act in good faith for the best interest of the company, which would be again section 180 to 181 related. That are fiduciaries. So the 181, it says like the fiduciaries. We're going to talk about fiduciaries. Fiduciary is a person whom we're going to just keep the trust on about financial status, and he must act in faithful manner to just do all these financial activities, because we are keeping the trust on him or like whoever the person. And the section 183 concerns about the properly use the company whatever the information. So as a director, he must make sure that he's not going to use the company's sensitive information for his financial gain or someone else's gain. So basically we have to note that point as well. And the last point, the final point would be the prevent company from insolvent trading. So if the director must always prevent insolvent trading if the company incurs a debt or becomes insolvent because it incurs the debt or reasonable ground for suspecting the company is insolvent. So he must always prevent insolvent trading. So I'm going to go to the case right now. So this case, the Judge Davis decided the Australian ASIC versus Sino breached the Corporations Act 2001 under sections 6742, 7281A and 7281B, well as 7281C. So altogether, like the Sino breached three related acts of 7281 to C, well as 1041H. And personally, Mr. Shao, who is the chairman of the company, contravened 1801 and 6742A. So according to the final decision of the court, Judge Davis ordered a pecuniary fine of 800,000 to its chairman itself, Mr. Shao, well as the court disqualified him managing corporations for 20 years, for the period of 20 years. And according to this case, the ASIC raised ASIC actually raised this issue according to the breach of obligations of disclosing all the financial materials according to the laws, and multiple misleading statements which Sino issued during 2013. So finally, during the hearing, Mr. Shao explained that due to his Chinese background, well as his understandability of English language, he didn't understand the full translation of the financial documents according to the Corporations Act in Australia, and he didn't even obtain any translation from a interpreter or a translator in a manner of written or an oral way. So due to that one, court said like he failed to discharge his duties with enough reasonable care. And we can just have a look upon the case of Australian Securities versus Investment Commission, Australian Securities and Investment Commission versus Haley. So it is similarly they failed to discharge their duties enough with reasonable care. Going forward with the case, ASIC alleged Mr. Shao that he contravened the profit forecast and significant profit downgrade by just giving the misleading information to its shareholders. And moreover, finally, court said like according to section 181, he attempted to transfer 7.5 million of IPO raised money to his Chinese subsidiary, which were not explained during when he tried to do the transfer. So due to that fact, the ASIC made the suspicion of the case and they just went to the court. So eventually they said the Shao, the holy company had to wind up due to the fact of these things. So I'm going to pass the presentation to my colleague Sahan. Thank you, Sahan.
Thank you, Madhusanga. My name is Sahan Pereira and my student ID is PRT3264, and I am going to discuss and analyze the case in the view of Corporation Act. Firstly, the court discovered that Mr. Shao was involved in the breach committed by the company. Moreover, he failed to inform himself regarding the disclosure requirements of the company, and at the same time he failed to understand the prospectus documentation of Sino. And again, regarding the fact that Mr. Shao had approved prospectus documents in English, even if he was able to speak on English and without asking for a full Chinese translation. And again, the company has also disclosed the presence of loan agreement in its prospectus documents that was included within the Chinese-based subsidiary of its sole director. And finally, at the same time, the company has also failed to disclose the presence of a loan agreement in its prospectus document that was included with the Chinese-based subsidiary of its sole director. And now I pass my presentation to Rishmita to continue.
Thank you, Sahan. And my name is Rishmita Pereira. My student ID is PFEC3423. And I'm going to talk about the relevance of the decision to the development of Australian corporations. And basically, in this case, ASIC versus Sino Australia, the main thing happened was Mr. Shao, who was the main director of the organization, has made a huge mistake by signing all the financial documents and without asking the other directors' opinions and reading or speaking any English or even the agreement. Eventually, because of the carelessness of the Mr. Chow, or the director, breaching the duties of a company's director, the company experienced a huge failure to continue in the business field and ended up winding up the company. So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you everyone for watching.